It's Monday, April 13th. The season opens on Wednesday. So we're waiting in Hunter's driveway right now. We're gonna pick him up and then we're gonna make a lap or two around the block and see where the turkeys are at. I know there's a few youth hunters in some of our spots, so they had some luck from what I've heard. So we're gonna kind of see where the birds are the next day or two here, and then we're gonna come up with a game plan for Wednesday morning. Here's another Tom.
Well, Ron, I can tell you what.
What?
Looks like they're kind of aggressive.
You know, if we can get them to roost where we can hunt, throw that Tom decoy out there as soon as they walk out, and I'd feel confident that they would come right in.
Well, good. That's right where we can hunt them.
It's a little after 4:30, and we're in the truck parked right where we're gonna start walking in. We're hunting a group of birds that we've been seeing here for the last couple weeks. The last few weeks, though, they've been on the other side of the woods, but last night when we're scouting, we've seen 4 toms coming on our side. They're roosting in there somewhere, so we're just hoping we can sucker a few to come to us. The toms off the roost, they're probably 150, 200 yards from us, but they have so many hens. It sounds like they're kind of working away from us, so we're just gonna slide up in this woods on top of the hill, let out some calls, and see if we can't get one to kind of turn around and come our way. We got quite a few toms roosted probably within 100, 150 yards of us, and they're hammering right now. So last night they were in the field in front of us, at least 4 toms and 6 hens, so hopefully they come down into this field this morning. So it's Friday morning now. It's about 5:20. We're sitting in the truck yet because there's a woods that we've been hunting the past 2 mornings off just a couple hundred yards, and then there's a woods right next to us here, and the toms have been bouncing back and forth, and we honestly have no idea which woods they're in, so we're gonna wait for that first gobble this morning and we're gonna make a move on it.
Dylan and I, and also Brandon, were hunting this morning, and Brandon had to head out for work. He had to work around 8, so we decided to jump in his truck with him and go back over closer to Dylan's house and sit in a field. As Brandon was leaving, he went around looking through fields, and he said he saw 2 toms and a bunch of hens right in the field that we can hunt. So now we're sitting here looking at this tom. Hopefully we can bring him in. That hen go in the gravel bed.
You got yourself a nice decoy.
Tom's like that little divot right there.
Just I like carry the team on my back, so I can't fit my backpack on top of it.
So we're set up right on this ridge in this woods. Dylan said like 2 nights ago there was like 4 toms that came straight from the west, which is right back behind the camera, and they came into those woods and roosted in here. So we don't know if that's the same turkeys that we heard this morning, but there's definitely turkeys that always roost here.
have to turn. Are you on him right now? Ready? Let's go! Give me that! Oh, that feels good. Oh. Dylan, Brandon, and I, we all sat up at Dylan's house and we were kind of chatting, trying to plan it out. We had like 4 birds across the road in a woods that we were gonna go after. We drove around last night kind of looking and scouting, and we knew there was a tom out in this field. So we decided I would split up from the 2 amigos, and they kind of stayed by Dylan's house waiting for those 4 birds to gobble. And so I wanted to see if I could hear something down here, and I actually stood right on a gravel pit. I mean, he was right there, probably like 100 yards from me. So I quickly called the guys and they came racing down, and I mean, we saw him come down really early. It couldn't have worked more perfect.
This morning we got onto a bird just down the road, and we're driving around taking our laps, and there's a bunch of turkeys right on this field where we set up the past 2 mornings. So we're right on the other side of this ridge. They should be right over the hill in the field. So we're just gonna try to sneak up here 15 to 20 more yards and just kind of wait for them to come up into the woods. We have to get there fast. All the toms are right there. The 4 toms are fanned out on this side, up on the hill. It's awesome just to watch this.
So it's a little after 3:30 and we're en route to our new spot for the night.
Hunter was out here the other week and he's seen, well, even the other day, and seen quite a few turkeys. So we got permission from it this morning, so we're gonna go give it a shot. The truck says it's 60 degrees, but there's a real strong south wind, so we're gonna try to find a spot that's out of that wind, and we think that's where the birds might end up being tonight, so we're gonna give that a shot and see what happens. We got our little pregame meal coming in us, learning on a diet with dollar chickens. Kind of just wing the rest of the night. On the way in, we kicked some birds and they kind of ran a different direction, and it's to that point where if they're coming in the field, they might have been here already. So we had no idea really what to expect. So now we're gonna kind of get a little aggressive here, and we're gonna work. There's another field that we think that they might be in a ways over, so we're just gonna kind of hop ridge to ridge, maybe do some calling and see if we can't get one fired up.
Well, it's about 6:45 now, and we had a few turkeys come out into the field this morning, but no tom, I don't think, was roosted up in the woods we're set on. There's a few jakes that came out, and one even got curious enough to come into the decoys, so that was kind of cool. Other than that, we got a turkey. It's across the road. It doesn't seem like he's too far across the road. He's going to town. You can hear him gobbling every minute, every 2 minutes. I guess at this point we're just hoping that that tom does the same thing as yesterday. And if he does that, we should be in business.
We just got set up here. We had some gobbling back in the woods. There's quite a ways off, but it was still pretty early in the morning, so we're like, we'll just come up here and sit for a little while. So we're just gonna hang tight up here for maybe an hour or two and do some calling and see if that tom from in the woods can come out or not. It's a midday turkey that's gobbling back at us, so maybe he's by himself and he might come out for a walk.
Don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move. How far is that? That's in range. There's more. It's all more done. They're all in range. Okay. Which one are you taking? I'd probably have to go the one on the far right. The one on the right.
Well, here we are with our Sunday gobbler. This morning we had set up where we had been sitting pretty much every morning for this past 5 days, and we set up over there this morning again, and we had a couple hens and a few jakes fly down off the roost into the field right next to us, but there was no gobbling, there was nothing over there. So at like 8 o'clock we just packed up and we started driving around, and just over my shoulder here we seen a tom and probably a hen or maybe 2 toms. It was hard to tell from the road. And we're like, well, we have nothing else to do on a Sunday, so let's just, go check it out, see how close we can get. We think we probably ended up busting those birds because when we got to where they weren't there. But then we just kind of called, let out a few clucks, and we had a gobble way off in the distance behind us in the woods. And then we just kind of found a spot up on top of this hill, just did a little more calling. We're like, we'll give it an hour or two and see what happens. Then we're just messing around in the blind, me, Dylan, and Hunter, and then I look out into the field, and sure enough, here comes 4 turkeys. They ended up being the same 4 toms that we've been hunting all week just across the road. Birds have bouncing all week just to the 4 different woods, and we finally caught up to them.
Kill something. Today, me and Brandon are in our cabin in central Wisconsin. It's opening day of the 2nd season of turkey season here in Wisconsin, and we got permission to go on the neighboring farm. It's, I think, roughly 425 acres of that the neighbors own that we all have permission on. The turkeys always are around. It's on this little point of woods that the turkeys seem to be around every year, and we always have trouble trying to pull them from there. So we're gonna go sit right on that point this morning. Hopefully they're back there. They usually are, and we can hear some gobbles. We're gonna bring out a tom and hen decoy, and hopefully they make their way towards us.
I'm not real sure where all the turkeys went. We had them gobbling all morning, but they're kind of farther off in the distance. And what we kind of think is that there's actually a little secluded field on our neighbor's property here that I think they were kind of hanging out in, but 5 hens did work their way across the field. We're just gonna probably sit for another half hour, 45 minutes, kind of keep calling and see if we see anything. But
If not, we're gonna go in, make some breakfast, and come back out for the afternoon. Me and Brandon just got set up, and not even 5 minutes after we sat down, we just heard it sounded like maybe 2 to 3 different gobblers gobble straight in front of us, straight to the south of us, probably just on the other side of this little field and little woods on the other side. I'm gonna try calling here. Maybe we can kind of pull them in. The towns are in the field, Aaron. The towns are in the field. They see the decoy. Come on, boys. Yeah.
It's our first day out here in central Wisconsin, and it worked out perfectly, just like we had kind of planned. This morning, me and Brandon came and sat up on our neighboring property that we got permission on to turkey hunt. And we set up on a point where we usually see a bunch of turkeys every year. Unfortunately, we didn't see toms this morning, but we heard a bunch gobbling back in this little secluded field on this property. And so that's where we figured we'd come tonight, because the turkeys are probably going to come back here and roost. Earlier on, we saw about 5-6 hens feeding in this field, and about a half hour, 45 minutes later, all of a sudden we turned around and looked behind us, and there were 8 toms coming right at us with no hens. 2 toms that were ahead of the pack crossed the ditch and came running right at the decoy. And unfortunately, I think one of them saw me put up my gun and kind of got a little spooky, so I shot. Awesome hunt, and Brandon's got a tag for 3rd week, so we'll be back out chasing more turkeys.
They're also very good.
Look at that mullet. Look at that good look.
Felt dangerous.
It's a good luck, huh?
It is, gotta keep her.
The whole season.
Birds are in serious trouble.